Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube? This is SCL0320 representing JVS. As you can see from the title, this is a theory. This is only a theory. There's no validity to what I have. I have no partnership with Disney or Marvel to make this something that's a valid point. This is just my thought process on what could be. Okay? Now, essentially, there will be spoilers within this. That's a huge disclaimer because I'm going to be talking about things that happen in the movie Civil War. So if you've not seen Civil War, take this, put it in your watch later, and then come back to my theory and my process about the way that that actually ended. Okay? So, just so that's out the door, there are spoilers. Stop now, then come back. Alright, if you don't care, then I'm about to start. So, essentially, when I looked at Civil War, and by the way, I went to Free Comic Book Day. That's some awesome picks. They had this, and then I ended up buying the actual full booklet, hardened edition Civil War, which I love. I actually have these original comics, and now I have the hardened edition. I can go and reread them without worrying about messing up the actual original covers. So when I went into Civil War, there were two different things that I wanted to make sure happened. I wanted to make sure that there was a purpose behind the actual stance and why these people were fighting. Because before the Concordance, I heard about it in the trailers, but I knew about the Registration Act that was implemented into this. I knew they couldn't do it because it would not bring any valid standpoint, because everybody's identity has already been revealed, as well as they don't have the Fantastic Four, as well as they don't have any X-Men. So there's not enough people to actually tangibly make this work. They did a great job from the movie standpoint of adding strife and intrigue going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? They made it their own story. They made Civil War a dissected version of it, but they made it work, and they made their points valid, and they stuck behind those ideals. You know, the only time that the things changed is when, which is one of the most heartfelt, terrible things that kind of happened in the movie, which was Iron Man being revealed to him that the Winter Soldier killed his parents. And the way that he killed his parents, you know what I'm saying? Like, to kill them in blunt force to make it seem as though they were in a car accident versus actually, you know, shooting them or whatnot. He actually had to see it, and that thing messed him up emotionally, compromised his perspective. He didn't care if he was brainwashed or not. He wanted to kill the people that killed his parents, specifically even he said his mom. From that point, the fight ensues, things happen, and it was very dramatic. It was very well done, very well explored. It took you away from the fight that was so epic to something that's more personal, more specific, you know. But for me, I went into the movie hoping that they would get, like I said, the understanding of why they're fighting right, and then I wanted it to be an emotional, gripping moment that hit me hard. The emotional, gripping moment that did hit me was definitely with Iron Man and my perspective about it, but this was Cap's movie. I was thinking to myself, okay, that moment's going to happen. I figured it was going to happen. Even when I saw Winter Soldier, I remember the moment when they actually showed, like, pictures of them with him and Black Widow, and they went down the underground bunker that blew up. It showed Howard Stark's face out there. So I was left to assume that the Winter Soldier killed him, you know? I didn't know how, but they showed it, and that was, anyway. But I was thinking to myself, Tony went through this emotional break, but I was thinking that, just like in this book, Captain America would stop because he knew what he's doing was not going to be counterproductive to the team, and he was hurting the dimensions to everything. So in terms, you know, Iron Man's side won because of that. But after that happened, he gets put in handcuffs, stopped by the people, and then going out, he gets sniped by Crossbow. Now, Crossbow got killed in this movie. We already know that. But I was thinking to myself, instead of Tony Stark getting a burner phone and like a letter from Cap, and him just being okay with this, because one of the most emotional, gripping things that happened is when Cap was walking around. He was like, "No, that's my father's shield. My father made that shield. You don't deserve that shield." I thought that was perfect. I don't know why everybody's trying to hit me up now. I thought that was perfect, right? And then it shows that there is no more Captain America. From his perspective, he's like, this is it, you know? And I was thinking what would be the perfect moment is for him, you know, to get killed. I thought that would have been the perfect moment for it to happen, or even beforehand, you know? And it didn't happen. Instead, it seems as though, instead of what happened in the Marvel comic Civil War, that everything was divided, the lines were crossed. There was no going back. I mean, there was emotional depth that was broken. from an emotional standpoint, but then there was no coming back because there was a casualty from it. The only casualty that really happened was really Tony's parents and his emotional strain, and then of course Rhodey. So people that were connected to him more so than with Cap, you know. And nothing really tangibly happened to Cap, you know what I'm saying? Everything kind of worked out in his favor in a lot of different regards, other than him being cut ties with his family or the team. And that was the only kind of fault that I had, other than Zemo. I'm not going to go into all these, but I still gave the movie a 9 out of 10. I love the movie, right? And so I talked to one of my friends, Archie. Archie is an awesome dude. I have to bring him on to the live discussion that we're going to have for Civil War and stuff beyond, because he's got a broader sense of all the different universes, all the different comics, and he's an old school dude, you know what I'm saying? And I was talking to him for about 50 minutes today, and he came to me and was telling me about his perspective of how he perceived the movie. And then on top of that, a theory that he had. So I'm talking about not my theory, but Archie's theory, okay? And I mean, take this all in stride, but I was like, this would take my 9 and make Civil War 10 if they did this. And I know that same exact thing happened with me with Winter Soldier. I gave Winter Soldier a 9 initially, and then I ended up upgrading it, you know, later on. And I think if they did this theory, it'd be perfect. So here's the theory out on gold, right? So basically what Archie has said is that from him, the way that they've set and platformed everything, they made Sam Wilson, Falcon, come from being a sidekick to being one of the more likable and lovable and strong and gripping characters that we want to see more from, right? Like, don't get me wrong, like, I mean, I loved him in Winter Soldier, but in this movie, Civil War, he was awesome. Everybody loved him. And the same as that transformation happened with Bucky. With Bucky in the Winter Soldier, he was an amazing villain, right? But in this movie, we empathized with him. We understood that this was not in his control. Before, we saw his mind getting wiped and he was making these decisions, but now we knew that he literally had no control over the action that he was going to do. And so we are aspiring to look for him and seek him, you know. And then on top of that, at the very end, he's in Wakanda, and Wakandans and T'Challa is actually protecting him. And basically, he's putting himself in cryo sleep, you know. And so I had to bring that up to explain the theory behind what he's saying. Basically, Archie said that when we get to Infinity Wars, not even when we get to Black Panther, not even when we get to Doctor Strange, when we get to Infinity Wars, right? Everybody understands the gravity and weight. It's not just Infinity Wars is going to be an all culmination of all the different heroes, like Guardians of the Galaxy, all the different people, like Avengers and everybody else, bringing the ties to make things more complete, right? His theory is that in part one, is that they should kill a specific character that is the heart and grounded force of the team. And Thanos should do it in the most heinous and terrible way to not only break the morale, but to take the hope away from the people, you know? And I remember when Iron Man 1 came out, and I remember when Captain America came out. I mean, I loved Captain America 1, but I didn't start getting on Cap's side, even with Avengers. More people were inclined to believe that Iron Man, Tony Stark, was still the leader, you know? And then when Winter Soldier came out, and then when the last Avengers came out, and then even seeing this, he is the heart and soul. Everybody that I knew, generally, were all Team Cap. Even though he was misguided in some of the perspective and blind faith and love for his friend, you know, everybody is for Team Cap, right? And so if he had died in this movie, it would have done a couple of different things to people, which I'm not going to go into. But what Archie's theory is that he dies in Infinity Wars. Within like the first 4/3 or the final, the first act, the end of that Thanos kills him, that Thor gets indisposed and messed up, and it requires somebody to get out of their cryo sleep, or if not Sam Wilson, to take up the mantle of hope, to bring reverence to what his legacy was, which is Cap's legacy, you know. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I could get for that. And if they went for that, if they actually legitimately killed Captain America in Infinity Wars, dude, that would affect everybody, because we all love Cap. we all now are expecting for Infinity Wars to have everybody grounded and ready to take down Thanos. Instead of him taking down Thor, instead of him taking down Hulk, imagine if he took down the Heart. Cap. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be so dope. And so I had to bring that theory to y'all. I'm not going to go any more about it. We talked about more of other things, such as like, by the time Infinity Wars 2 comes out, like Cap has been dead and Bucky or whoever is now taking up the mantle and Cap comes back, you know, that would be actually, I mean, I'm not going to go too much further with that, but just put in your minds, imagine if in Infinity Wars, if they actually kill Captain America. And I don't know, this is just a theory. I hope me saying this doesn't stop the Russo brothers from doing this. I hope they already got the script and everything ready. I hope they don't see this and be like, man, why is this guy doing this and doing it? Now we got to say something else. I pray that that happens so that it will be so much more deeper and resonating for me personally to have one of the most inspiring characters to be taken out. Because that was one of the things I wanted for this movie. I wanted to say, well, but it was too small. It wasn't an Avengers movie, but it was supposed to be Cap's movie at the same time, and it didn't flow to what they were trying to cater to the audience standpoint. And I think that's the reason why they didn't do it. But if they did it for Infinity Wars, imagine what that would do to you. So let me know what y'all's thoughts are. Leave it in the comment section below if you enjoyed this theory. If you want to leave a like, definitely let me know, because I will share this with Archie, because this is all because of him. So Archie, shout out to you, bro. Odin's son. I appreciate you, man. Anyway, keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Y'all have a blessed night. Peace.